Hello everyone, it's Carrie, and I have been playing with the May 2019 Hedgehog Hollow Kit. And this particular stamp of the poppies was so much fun that I want to show you poppies 3 ways. So I'm starting out with some Nina Solar White 80-pound paper, and I'm going to ink that up with this Nuvo hybrid ink. This ink is really great because you can use any medium on it. For this first one, I'm going to use Copic markers to color in this image. And so I'm going to stamp it twice, but it doesn't matter if you get a completely full impression on those flowers because we're going to do something a little bit fun later. So I'm not going to leave in the entire coloring of this set, but I will show you just a little bit of it here. I'm using some oranges and reds to color in those poppies, and then I'll use some greens for the leaves and some turquoise blues for the teapot. But it doesn't really matter if you color in these poppies all the way because we're going to pop up some additional poppies right on top. So I'm just showing you how I colored the poppies here really quickly because this is the exact same way I colored the poppies that went on the top. When I first started this, I wasn't planning on adding additional poppies on top, but it just needed that little extra dimension, and so I went ahead and did that. So here you can see I'm just adding a little bit of drama with a darker orange color, and I will even go in and add some red later on. To ground this image, I'm going to use some cool grays just to create a shadow so it doesn't look like it's just sitting in midair. So I'll use 3 different shades of cool gray and just keep blending that out with the lightest gray here. For the teapot, I'm using 3 of my favorite blues, BG10, BG11, and BG15. And I like to go in starting with the lightest color to kind of show me where the shadows are going to be. And then I go in with the darkest color over that and just keep blending it out down through the mid-tone and back to the lightest color again. So as I said, I'm not going to leave the entire coloring in, but this will just give you kind of an idea of how I Copic color, and hopefully you'll give this a try at home. This teapot was a really fun and easy image to color because there's already some shading on the image itself to kind of show you where it should be. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp that image once again with a black over the top to make those lines even more pronounced. So I'm using the same Nuvo hybrid ink. I'm just going to stamp it right over, and you can see that the lines are a lot more intense. And here I'm picking out which sentiment I want to go on that card, and I eventually settled on this one here. And to get that lined up just right, sometimes I'll use this grid to make sure I have the sentiment straight. So I'm going to stamp it, just testing it out on this acetate. This is actually the piece that came with my Stamp-A-Majig. So I just use that sometimes to just make sure that I like the placement of the image. When I check that, I did like where it was, and so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. And I'm using VersaFine Onyx Black for a nice crisp black impression, and also I wanted to heat set that with clear embossing powder. So here you can see I've already colored up 3 additional poppies, and I cut them out, and now I'm just going to go around the edges with a felt tip pen. This is just a black felt tip pen, and you'll be able to see as I hold this up that the one that you outline with a black pen looks like you cut it perfectly, like you're a professional. Hopefully you can see the difference here. There's still a little bit of white jaggedy on the one on the right, and the one on the left I went ahead and outlined. So I outlined all of those, and now I'm going to pop them up with some foam tape onto this image over the flowers that they belong to. So you can see that I did color these ones up a little darker. I like the dramatic color variations on these poppies. I really do like that. And I know poppies come in a lot of different colors, but this is my favorite. So now I'll just go ahead and use some liquid adhesive. This is the Nuvo Deluxe liquid adhesive, which is my favorite right now. and I'll attach that to a blue turquoise kind of color cardstock, which matches my teapot. And then I'll go ahead and attach that to a 110-pound top folding card base. And look at how beautiful this first card is. And to add just a little more detail, I'm going to take a white gel pen and add some dots to the center of each of those poppies, and that does give it quite a kick. I thought about adding glitter. As you know, stickles is always one of my favorites, but I didn't do it on this one. But you can see here the dimension and how fun that card is. For the second card, I'm going to use Vellum to gold heat emboss this same poppy image onto. And I really wanted to gold heat emboss the last one, and I decided to keep it black. So then I went ahead and gold heat embossed the one on the vellum. When you're embossing on vellum, it's very important to heat up your heat gun for a good 30 seconds so that it's nice and warm when you bring it to the vellum. And then when you are heating it and actually putting it on the vellum, be sure to move it around quite a bit or take it off every so often so that the vellum doesn't warp. What I usually do is heat a little bit and then take the heat gun off and then heat a little more. That way I get my vellum to kind of stay flat. So look how pretty this gold heat embossed on vellum is. So pretty. I have this paper here that I really wanted to use as the background. And so to put the vellum on, I'm going to use this full sheet of Elizabeth Craft double-sided adhesive. This came in one of the previous Hedgehog Hollow kits, and I went ahead and cut it out, and now I'm going to remove the backer so that the entire piece of vellum is sticky. The reason I like to do this is because you won't be able to tell that there's any adhesive on the back of this vellum at all because the whole thing is completely covered. Now I'm going to use this Sympathy chipboard piece from the kit, and I found this green embossing powder in the back of my drawer and I kind of liked it. It was similar green to that plaid in the background paper, but also had some gold to it, so it's like a green gold. Here you can see it looks kind of mossy, but when I heat emboss it, it turns more gold green. So it is kind of the perfect color for this card background. I'll use my tweezers to hang on to the Sympathy sentiment while I heat emboss that, and you can see that it turns kind of into a green gold there. And now we'll put the entire card together. I'm just going to use the deluxe adhesive to glue that entire piece onto a 110-pound card base, and then we'll attach the sentiment using the same adhesive the same way. And you'll be able to see in just a minute that I was testing out some Nuvo drops in different colors that I thought might match. And then I thought, you know, none of these really look like the right color to kind of finish off this card. So instead I found some sequins that were in that orange poppy color that I liked. There I was testing out different colors. And so I ended up using these poppy colored sequins, and they also match the plaid in the background of that paper. So that's how we'll finish off this card. So here's our 2 cards so far, and I have one more to share with you. This one is a little bit of a stretch for me. I ended up changing the position of the image, and I white heat embossed it on watercolor paper. And we're going to do a little watercoloring with this image. It is such a fun thing to do. I have these Daniel Smith test colors here, and I thought I would use them for this piece because I had just the right colors for the poppies, for the leaves, and for the teapot. And the trick to watercolor is to build up the color kind of slowly. So I'm just doing a wash of the lightest bit of this orange here to start off. Now I am not a professional watercolorist, and I'm not even nearly as good as some of the watercolorists out there that are card makers like Debbie Hughes or Emily Midget, but I have been practicing a little, and so I thought it would be fun to watercolor up this poppy image. So I am building up the color. I started out really light with everything, and now I'm using that moonstone to build up the color on the teapot here. And you'll be able to see as time goes on that building up the color slowly really adds quite a bit of drama. So you can see these poppies are turning into the most beautiful orange red. I hope you can see that. That's not too far away. And then as I was finishing this up, I thought this looked like it. I just wanted to carry the colors all the way out across the entire card. So I ended up doing that. I'm not sure that I completely love it, but once I added the sentiment and some of those Nuvo drops that I had previously put on this sheet here, I really ended up liking this card. It's a really fun, soft look. So I used some of that light green cardstock to add the image. Well, actually I added that watercolor piece to some foam, some craft foam first, and then I attached the craft foam to that light green piece. And then the light green piece I attached to the card base. And so there you have it, our last and final poppy card. I hope you really enjoyed these projects. 3 different ways to use this one stamp with very different looks. And here's a final look at each of those a little closer. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope I inspired you to try a new technique or to even try one of these, or that I inspired you to use that poppy stamp in a little different way. Thanks for stopping by. I hope I see you again next time. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I will see you next time. Have a really great day. Bye-bye.